good morning so far, or whenever you're watching this video. Um, your first change will be that you're leaving one type of career and going into this brand new career, right? And you don't feel you know what to expect. Well, I can tell you, let me grab this right away. This book will help you as to some of the things you might be doing every day. Now, I'm looking at doing some classes for the future on the different tasks from A to Z that we do in the legal field. And so that in itself is a big change. And what the attorney, while you may think you don't know what you're getting into, truly, you can know more than you already do right now. This book will definitely help you. This is on Amazon. It will take you behind the scenes on some of the different types of paralegals and what we do when we walk in the office in the morning. That's really the biggest unknown, is those everyday tasks. And honestly, that type of workplace where you know what you're doing when you walk in on day one, and what should I do now, and what takes higher priority, that's not taught in a lot of places. And that's what I like my students to find out, because it reduces your stress level big time. And that was something I discussed with a paralegal at the workplace, but they don't have a lot of time. And so my attorneys would come in and say, "What are you working on?" And I wanted to make sure I was doing things in the order they wanted them. That takes communication. That's a big part of working as a paralegal, even if your attorney doesn't like to communicate. But it really depends on how your personality meshes with the people that you work with, your coworkers and the attorneys. And that goes for any workplace, right? Whether you're going to go in happy every day. So how you interview will really shed light on some of this, and the questions that you ask. So you can reduce the shock factor that, when we don't like change, we feel shocked and we're disappointed, or it just upsets the apple cart, so to speak. And we want to know what we will be facing. So understand this, that your workplace can change in a nanosecond. I have been in 3 different law firms, and I had to get used to change like this, where an attorney decided that the partnership was no longer working for him or her, and they decided to go elsewhere. That meant 90% of my work was gone. And while one law firm didn't want to see me go, they wanted me to stay, I needed a lot of work to do to keep me busy. And I appreciated that. Another workplace had my attorney left, and that was it. And so I had to find other work. One attorney left that I loved working for, because she wanted a lifestyle where she could leave at 5:30 and go home, where she was working at a private law firm, and they were making, it was expected that she worked till 7:30, 8 o'clock every night. She had a teenager at home. She wanted to spend those last couple years with her before she went off to college. So she chose a government agency to work for, because they all got out at 5 o'clock. There's no overtime, no nothing. That really excited her, and I don't blame her at all, but my work disappeared. And that's the time I gave myself a big raise, and I moved to another law firm and worked there for a year. Those changes can be upsetting. You don't know truly what you're getting into. But as far as performing in your job, that's what you want to do. And you want to do it without making a lot of mistakes. And so you can't just remember this. always say to yourself when you're working, am I guessing? Because that's a real no-no in the legal field. Am I assuming, which is guessing? Just understand that we never assume in the workplace, okay? And so that's one of the things I hear from people. They're so afraid they're going to make mistakes. And if there's nobody to guide them, how are they? Well, you have to check to make sure you're doing things right. And you either run it by another paralegal or you run it by the attorney. And you just have to do that. But write down what you did. Get your notebook out. The notebook I tell you to carry with you, that's your private information, okay? Don't leave it at the workplace. And write down everything you're learning. So get ready for change to happen. Don't be shocked. The one thing I recommend, and this may sound like you're getting this ready for no reason, but no, it is true. I want you to have your resume updated at all times and your cover letter ready to go at all times. And when you are learning new things and you're writing them down in your notebook, is there anything in that notebook of those new duties you've learned that can go on your resume? Update your resume constantly, okay? And get ready for change in that regard, where if your attorney leaves, you're like, how could that even happen? Because the partnerships dissolve. Or that attorney, just like you, excuse me, is not happy in that particular workplace. And they're not going to share that with you ahead of time. They'll just be doing, they'll end up getting another job, and then they'll give their notice like most people do. We don't usually share that. So change is inevitable. And it may be that you're, excuse me, you're working in an area of law that you don't enjoy. You really don't enjoy it. Change to another area of law. That's totally possible. So keep your mind open to change. If you're one that resists change, then keep your mind open, because things happen. I mean, my husband, his job was fizzled out after he was with the company for 28 years. My father and my uncle and many other managers in a supermarket chain out of Philadelphia, but my dad worked in New Jersey near in Secaucus. And his job fizzled after 30 years, and my uncle's fizzled too. And almost so many of the other managers that were my dad's age. My dad was only in his 40s, like 46, 47-ish, 46, I think. And it was devastating to him. But within 6 months, he was working at another supermarket, not in a managerial capacity. So keep your mind open to change at all times. But you look at yourself and care about yourself, because I was the sole breadwinner for a while in the family, and I had to make sure I had steady income coming in. So most of us are in that position. That's why I tell you, every new skill that you learn, how are you going to incorporate that somehow in your resume or when you interview? Okay. Now, remember, I give you a behind the scenes look into some types of paralegals in here, plus many other things. You can look at the table of contents on my website under Legal Break-In Book, but the website is called paralegalcoffeetalk.com. Go there and check that out. And then be very aware that the membership is going to open on Black Friday for you to get in. I teach the practical side of being a paralegal, and you get a certificate at the end of that when you complete all the modules. And it's on demand. You watch those videos. I have a private Facebook group, and then that will be coming up Black Friday and be open for 72 hours, and then I shut it down, okay? And that will probably be the last time for this year. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do that, but that will be the last time. So go over, and what's that under on my website? Accelerator paralegalcoffeetalk.com, accelerator. Now, I'm going to read you something in here. This is day 69 of the Unstuck book. I usually do this at the beginning. Romans 12:2. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. So if this is God's will for you to be in this career, then He will bless your efforts as you work hard to enter it. Okay? And pray over everything. Pray over the resume and cover letter you're sending out. Pray over the interview. And ask God to show you whether you should go into that workplace or not. And He will do that. Change the way you think. And God said He has plans, and this is Jeremiah 29:11. He has plans to prosper you and not to harm you. So have a great day, and I will talk to you in tomorrow's video. Take care.